Good afternoon and welcome to beautiful Rosendale, Wisconsin. Theoretically, the place I'm at, the address is Pickett, but we'll call it Rosendale because that's what the weather widget says. And it is a fantastic late February day. It's so fantastic that I don't even have a coat on. I think it said 52, 53 degrees. Heck, it may be 55 degrees by now. What I've got on the stand to run for you today is a Fox 40 BBRC engine. Now, I just featured a look inside video on this engine just recently, and this is the first and best opportunity so far I've had to actually run this thing. So what I've got installed here is a Fox long plug with an idle bar on it. One of the viewers commented saying that that's what should be running this engine, so that's what I have and that's what I'm running. I've got a 10.6, it's a Zinger, old 10.6 Zinger prop that just so happens to fit within this the BB Deluxe spinner, and I'm going to be running some pink fuel here. Now this is a combination of 15% and FAI fuel, so I would say that I probably put about this much 15% in here from here down, and then the rest is FAI fuel. So that could turn out to be about 10%, maybe 8 to 10% nitro fuel. That's what I'm going to fill this tank up with, and that's what we're going to run this engine with for the very first time. Now, this is an ABC engine. For those of you that read the review articles that I posted in the look inside video, this is a true ABC engine, one of Duke Fox's first ABC engines. Now, because I believe that some of these engines, later ones maybe not, but I know many of the Fox engines were run at the factory. I haven't touched the high speed and low speed on here. I did adjust this throttle stop screw, and it seems like everything is set up right, like maybe they had preset the carb. So that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. If I have to go in here and adjust on this low speed, it's a slotted head, and this muffler is going to make it a little tough to try to get in there and tweak it. So on this first run, I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of tweaking unless it just really needs it. But the other thing I don't recall, or I recall from other Fox engines, not necessarily this one per se, because I don't have the exact instructions that came with this engine, but I know some other Fox iteration of engines, they actually said to adjust the low speed first before you adjust the high speed. Now, it's contradictory to everything I've been taught and many of us have learned about tuning a two-stroke engine, because you always go to peak RPM, tune the high speed, and then you go and do the idle. I don't know if that applies to this engine or not, so I'm just going to leave things as they are and run this engine and see what happens and just use my gut feel to go with it. So let's run this engine. Okay, let's see how she takes a prime. Very well. In fact, I don't even know if I'm going to prime it any more than that. Let's see how she fires up. Opening at 2 clicks caused it to die. That's interesting. 10,340, and when you're running in an ABC engine, you want to get it up to operating temperature. Maybe this is one of those ones where you should tune the low end first, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to fire it up and let it run at full throttle a bit more. we lost the plug. I don't think so, but... Let's check that plug. Hopefully the nye didn't go out on it. Oh, plug's fine. If this is reversed where you have to do the low speed first instead of the high speed, that would make sense. Because I've got the high speed tuned, what seems to be pretty well, even though this is just the first run. I know I'm running it kind of hard, but oh well. But the low speed is peculiar. Because what I want to do is, if I can get it to at least continue to run with the nye on it, that tells me that we've got plenty of glow, and that I would have to richen it, or I can't, I'll have to figure that one out in my head here real quick. Let's see, it's not even wanting to. This throttle is a little sticky. acting like it was rich, and then I go to lean it and then it dies. So this is kind of curious. That. Okay, overall I'd say that was a really good run. It's always interesting running a Fox engine because you never know what you're going to get. And it seemed like if I really hadn't messed with those settings prior to the run, which I'm pretty sure I didn't mess with them, it seemed like it was pretty close right out of the box, which is what I would expect from a Fox engine because I know that was one of the things that they always wanted. They wanted people to be able to just take their engines right out of the box, put them on a plane, and be able to fly. Sure, you'd have to let it do some break-in, do some minor tweaking, but it should be pretty much ready to go. And I would say that this one was. I started getting a little lost with some of these low-speed settings, which maybe I shouldn't have even been messing with, but I was. And I think in the end, at the end of this run, we got a really nice running engine for the very first time that the engine was run. Can it be tweaked more and broken in more? Of course, but it's a really nice engine. And from what I recall, my last Fox 40 BBRC Deluxe engine, I know I complained about that particular engine because it never seemed to get anywhere near the RPM figures in the review articles with a 10.6 prop. This one, however, is reaching those RPM figures and possibly even exceeding them. So this is a nice engine. I really like it. I've got a handful, or I've got at least 3 other props, wood props that will fit within this spinner. You know, maybe like a 10.5, an 11.7, I don't know, some other strange props. That's not to say that I have to run it with the spinner. I could put the regular hub on here and just the nut and run it with any other props. But I like using the spinner because it's a lot easier to start with the starter. So I'm probably going to stick with whatever little props or wood props with narrow bases that I can to run this engine, just because I like running it with the spinner and that's how it was designed to run. So that's our run for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I know I did because we're running engines and it's a beautiful day.